Hi, this is Deborah Atkinson, the author of You Still Got It, Girl, the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women. And that book is out, published by Healthy Learning, later in November of 2015. So no matter when you're watching this, you can watch for more information about it at voiceforfitness.com, as in, I'm a speaker, voiceforfitness.com. So in a previous video, I just answered a question about, or started to answer a question about, how do I handle food choices when people are bringing in treats to the office, when people are having me over and they're cooking and they're responsible, or how do I order off of a menu? And I dodged that question a little bit. So if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it, because it's really more about first making up your own mind. More in the other video. So right now, I want to address the other piece of that. So if you're a guest, let's say you're going to a buffet, going to a cocktail party, New Year's Day, there's a big party and the guys are watching football, the women are not, and you're gonna be invited, but you don't know what to expect for food. So how do you handle that? Can you ask the hostess, can I bring something? And then, what if she says no? How do you handle that? Can you ask, what are you making? What will be available? So there's a couple of options. Number one, always go full. Pre-eat. You do your pre-party eat so that you've had adequate protein and adequate fiber. So if you have nothing else, you'll be fine. But you'll also be able to buy a little time for better decision making because you're not starving. Don't go hungry. That's old news. But the biggest secret is, don't just eat anything before. Eat a smoothie if you need to. So a real quick kind of liquid but high protein smoothie snack before would be fabulous, knowing you're probably going to find some vegetable crudettes, something that you can eat either with or without the dip that's provided. That's going to be very appropriate, and you can still nibble and mingle and help everybody else be comfortable because you're eating. So that's one option, preload, okay? And then just choose the healthy things that you want to, or leave them all out and just sip on your water with lemon, and be careful about what it is that you drink, because that will kind of dissipate your decision making. So second is, bring something without asking. Just do it. So make it very attractive, let her know, hey, if you have room for this on the table, great. And if not, you can put it away for later. 9 times out of 10, somebody's gonna go ahead and put it out and say thank you. It's as a gift. So that way you bring something that you know that you can eat. And especially if you're going gluten-free, wheat-free, dairy-free, and you don't know that your hostess is aware of that, it's a wise thing to bring your own. So just be careful and don't make a big deal out of it, and that way they won't either. So that's a way to handle it if you have to be a guest or you're invited somewhere and you just don't know, will there be a place for me to actually eat? Will there be something for me? Ordering out. So let's talk about that. So number one, if you know where you're going in advance, that's huge, but you can't always control it even if you know. Someone else has chosen because it's their birthday, or it's their office party and you're invited to go to the office party. You probably don't get any pick in where you're going. You might not get a big pick in the menu. There might be 3 different things that you can order. You can have the salmon or the chicken dish, or you can have the beef dish, and they come with their own sides. But don't be afraid to color outside the lines even then. Even if you're the new kid on the block, don't eat something that disagrees with you just to please someone else. That never goes over really well. So stand up for yourself politely, kindly, and turn down anything that doesn't work for you. But make your choices in advance. Try to find out a little something about what's on the menu or what will be available, and let someone know if you've got a food sensitivity. Just, this is why I'm asking. Find out as much as you can in advance. And there's always the preload, so that you don't have to rely on eating to get full at the meal, but you can eat some of what's there, most likely, and that way you can still be there and socialize. And then next, if you're eating out just naturally, a lot of times if you're traveling, it might be that you've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner out. So a couple of things I've shared in the past, my secrets I always travel with. My protein powder in a big baggie. I've often wondered, what does security think when they open this up? But anymore, I think there are probably a lot of us doing it because I go with vanilla, right? So it's white powder. But anyway, so there's that. So I travel with that, and then I can eyeball scoop, so I don't worry about that. And I travel often with packets of oatmeal. So I'm discovering, unfortunately, I love oatmeal, but unfortunately, I'm discovering that I'm a little sensitive to it. So the gluten in it may disagree with me. So I'm looking for an alternative to my breakfast meal. So it won't be that, but it will be some kind of an instant breakfast, no sugar, that I can prepare easily in the room. So with either a microwave or with a coffee maker and hot water, dumping it in. So I have to be careful to know what's going to be in my room so I can do that, but that's pretty easy. And then I will stir my protein powder into that. So usually my breakfast is fairly easy with that, and then maybe ordering some fruit off of the room service menu or getting some at the free buffet, depending on where I'm staying, or taking some nuts and just stirring those into the oatmeal or the close to oatmeal substitute that I know I'm going to be eating. That gives me a breakfast option that if I'm starving and timing wise for what else I have to do or where I need to be, it doesn't work for me to go to breakfast or get something else. And I'm not a go out to eat for breakfast kind of a person. That leaves me with kind of a hangover, to tell you the truth. I would rather get up, I do my morning routine no matter where I am, and I like to exercise, have my shower, have my breakfast, walk out the door, and I'm ready for the day. I don't need to eat still. So think of, for lunch and dinner, how do I round out my day? What else am I going to have? Do I have a dinner scheduled, and what kind of a restaurant is that at? What will I probably have there? And that's how I make my choices. But no matter what, I look at the menu and I start with protein. So what is going to be my protein source? Do I want fish? Do I want chicken? Do I want beef? I rarely choose beef, but sometimes that's an option. Do I want something that's vegetarian? So not very often do I personally choose a vegetarian dish, but sometimes they look really good and they look better maybe than something else. So I'll try them as long as I know I'm going to get enough. So I choose around a lean protein option, and usually they're greens. So I like fresh, especially at lunchtime, as opposed to cooked vegetables. So I might do cooked vegetables and raw greens for dinner, but I like a lighter salad and a lean protein for lunch. So that's pretty much my staple. At most restaurants, that's pretty easy to do. So there are very few where you cannot do that. And sometimes the choices are better than others. Sometimes it's iceberg, and that's all there is. But you can ask usually or find a little avocado or tomato ways to bump up the nutrient value of any salad, even iceberg. So, and then there's dinner time. So I do a little bit of carb at dinner time for relaxing, calming, helping me sleep. So I might choose a sweet potato. That's not always on every menu option, but I might choose brown rice. Quinoa, if I can find it. That's a little more difficult depending on where you are. I'm in Boulder at home, so that's an easy fix, but everywhere else, not quite as easy. So just be careful. I'm careful of gluten and wheat in my evening meal as well. So I'm just watching for what else could I choose that's a little bit more helpful. So if there's not a sweet potato option, usually there's another potato option. So choose around the protein and then swap sides out as you need to. So if something is served with baked beans or coleslaw, those would be two things I would nix. So baked beans still have gluten in them and a lot of sugar, a lot of starchy carbohydrate. Nothing wrong necessarily with beans if you can digest it easily, but a baked bean is probably not the way to go. And so that would be definitely something I wouldn't take in. A lot of sugar and a lot of dairy in the coleslaw, so I probably would not do that either. So if I could change that out for just a regular green salad, I would swap it, or for some kind of a steamed vegetable. anything would be better than the other two. And usually people are more than willing to do that if they've already got them elsewhere on the menu. It's just, for them, it's bait and switch. So don't be afraid to ask for what you want in order to feel good and be a satisfied customer. So that's how to eat out and or eat over at somebody else's house during the holidays or any time of year.